Ohio.
Ohio.
Greetings, everyone. I am here today to talk about what has happened on the Touhou space for this year. It's been quite an interesting one, hasn't it? We got so many new things for Touhou and all kinds of stories have happened throughout the past 12 months. Some were good, but some had a little more drama than others.
Oh yes, it definitely was. But what do you mean by drama?
Well, it's no secret that this year had a lot of legal drama in the Touhou community. Not all of it was very good to talk about and we shouldn't dwell on it too much. But I think that overall, despite everything that happened this year, there have been some really positive things come from it as well.
That's true. We've seen great new games released for us fans to enjoy, among other things like artworks and music pieces. So even though the negative aspects are still worth noting, let's not forget about the lighthearted moments we got as well.
Absolutely. But back to the video topic. I want to talk about what has happened in the Touhou space this year.
Speaking of which, did I hear something about a new Touhou game?
Yes, you heard right. We got a new spin-off game called the 100th Black Market or Touhou 18.5. It's not like any other bullet hell out there with its unique mechanics and a grinding gameplay loop. You can use different ability cards and strategies in order to succeed. However, some people feel that the balance is off for this spin-off title. People also noticed that assets from earlier games were reused for this one too. Still though, despite these flaws, I suggest everyone give it a try and judge accordingly on what they think about it. After all, since this is just a spin-off game, we shouldn't expect much anyways when playing it besides silly gimmicks here and there.
But hey, at least we got something new, right?
Exactly. We should appreciate the new Touhou game even with its flaws and look forward to what other positive things will come our way in the future. But let's move on to the next topic. Let's talk about the 20th anniversary of Touhou 6. It was released way back on August 11, 2002. Can you believe it's already been 2 decades? Here we are celebrating its 20th anniversary.
Wow, that is pretty old.
Yes, it is. Touhou 6 was the beginning of the Windows era for the Touhou games, and that's when we first started to see its popularity really start to take off.
It's a landmark event, isn't it?
Definitely.
It can be really interesting just how much the world has changed since then. Especially with regards to Touhou games, that the release of Touhou 6 is what started us on this journey we've been on ever since. All these fantastic characters and stories that have come out in the last 2 decades.
Absolutely. And here's to another 20 years of more exciting adventures ahead for gamers everywhere who have embraced the magic of Touhou Project as their own. But moving on. Let's talk about some smaller but still interesting things that happened this year. Some of you may know that Touhou 9 or Phantasmagoria of Flower V is now available up in Steam as one of the official Touhou games. It's always a welcome addition to have more Touhou games on Steam, so let's hope eventually all of them will be added there someday.
Does that mean we get to interact with more people who play Touhou?
Yes, most definitely. It's always good to have more people playing the game. There is also a new character that was revealed in the official Touhou manga cheating detective Satori.
Oh. Can you tell us who it is?
No. I don't want to spoil anything in case some of you are unaware. Let's just say that it's a vengeful spirit and is not Mima as many thought. Mima isn't coming back, unfortunately. There is an older video on this channel about this new character, so give it a watch if you're interested. That is all the interesting events on Primary Touhou Works this year. Moving on. If I have the chance, I would talk about all the Touhou secondary works this year, but there is too much. So I want to summarize the interesting things that happened. Firstly, Fumos, the plush dolls that people scramble for at events, are now made to order instead of the first is first system. This makes it easier for overseas fans to get Fumos, and there's even an overstock on certain Fumos right now. All fans of Touhou merchandise can be happy about this change.
That sounds really cool. I've only gotten one Fumo before, but with this new system maybe I can get more. Are there any other developments going around?
Absolutely. There have been a ton of Touhou music videos released this year from lots of different circles. The most notable is Internet Survivor, which reached 2.3 million views within 4 months, which is very impressive. It showcased a lot of current and old Japanese memes, so it was pretty funny. Then we had the 8 Touhou Fan Game Jam, where a lot of cool entries were created. It's awesome seeing how much energy fans still give back to Touhou despite all these years after its release.
Wow, that's really something. Did anything else interesting happen?
Yes, of course. There was the Touhou Character popularity poll where Flandre won first place. This could be attributed to the success from Internet Survivor, as well as more valid votes being cast in the poll, which suggests Touhou is becoming more popular than it ever has before.
That's amazing. All these changes make me happy. Touhou seems to have a bright future because of all these developments.
You said it. It's clear that fans across many countries are still deeply engaged with Touhou and its fan works. Overall, I'm glad to see this level of growth and investment being put into Touhou's secondary works. It's rejuvenating for sure. But enough of the secondary fan works. Let's move on to the drama. There has been quite a lot of controversy that happened recently about Zun's stance on piracy. Back in 2009, he said in an interview that he turned a blind eye on overseas piracy because it was too much effort for him to try and control it, so he wanted to ignore it. However, here we are in 2022, and I think this has changed because his legal team is now known to have sent out takedowns from websites such as Moriya Shrine, which was a website that had all of the pirated official Touhou content, including games, music, books, you name it.
Another example is Touhou PC 98, the ultimate collection over at GitHub, which had pre-configured emulators for the PC 98 Touhou games. This event led to some chaos, especially with people being unable to play one of the older titles like Touhou 6, because you can't easily buy them digitally to play them. Then there's also the issue of how most of these older PC 98 titles are impossible to get officially.
So what do you guys think? Is piracy something bad or good?
That being said, we still highly encourage all of our viewers to purchase official content from a legitimate place such as Steam. That way you can show your support for Zun and the Touhou project.
So true. The next controversial event is the trademarking of the term Yukkuri cha bengeki. It's a popular format in Japan where you have 2 or more characters talking, most often in Yukkuri form, which are dumpling versions of Touhou girls. Flandre, focus. Though what was trademarked was not the format itself, but only the words Yukkuri cha bengeki.
Wait, but then why can't we use those words in our titles?
People were still able to do Yukkuri videos, as long as they don't title their video using the trademark.
But that doesn't seem fair. I mean, why does he get to monopolize the concept? What did he even want to do with it anyways?
Well, originally he was asking people to pay him 100,000 yen or $770. This caused a huge uproar, and angry people even found out the name and address of the person who had registered the trademark. While it's unknown if that info was accurate, since he said he used a fake name. Plus, someone even threatened bombing the law office which helped register this trademark, which obstructed public transport around the area.
That's crazy. So what happened after?
Well, thankfully, this person eventually cancelled his trademark registration amid all these controversies, and everyone rejoiced. It still leaves us wondering though why someone was able to secure such power by registering trademarks like these. It gave quite a scare that our favorite memes could end up being taken away from us just like that. But enough of that. The last 2 controversies are mostly unknown to the English community, so I'll summarize them quickly. Firstly is Touhou Danmaku Kagura. It's a mobile Touhou rhythm game with gacha elements that has been extremely popular in Japan in the recent months.
How popular is it?
Very. It was quite the hit. So people were naturally upset when they announced the game's sudden shutdown. Understandably so, since a lot of players put in a great deal of money into collecting their favorite characters and such.
That sounds really mean. So why did they shut it down if it obviously made enough money since people were buying things in the first place?
Actually, even though there was a fair amount of revenue generated from purchases, it wasn't nearly as profitable as some other gacha games because it didn't have any predatory monetization methods like pay-to-win or pay-to-progress mechanics. It was also said that development costs were way too high for what the game brought.
But then how did everything get better? I know something happened, but I'm not sure what yet.
Well, shortly after announcing its shutdown, they announced plans for a sequel standalone version, which will be available via Steam instead of mobile phones this time around. Not only that, but they also decided to launch a crowdfunding campaign to fund their development process, and within 30 minutes their goal had been met. Meaning people are still passionate enough about the game that they're willing to shell out money to make sure those dreams become reality. That's pretty awesome, don't you think?
Absolutely. I am super excited now. Is there any more information on this matter that viewers should check out?
Why, yes. We've actually made a video diving deeper into this topic, so give it a watch. But on to the next controversy. Let's talk about Arcadia Records. It's a Touhou mobile game that has origins in China and has caused a lot of controversy since it initially used unlicensed assets from different Touhou content creators.
What? That's terrible. How could they do such a thing?
Well, the Chinese Touhou community wasn't too happy about this either. They felt like this game was stealing from small creators who worked hard to make their own projects. And what made it even worse is that the game had monetization options, which meant that whoever made it was probably making quite a bit of money off it as well.
Well, I cannot believe someone would stoop so low. But at least they rectified the situation, right? The assets were removed eventually, right?
Yes. Thankfully, Arcadia Records turned legit, and now all the assets are commissioned by them themselves instead of directly copy-pasted from other sources. However, there still remains some wariness amongst gamers because if you look around on Twitter, you can find multiple threads discussing its shady beginnings and everything else surrounding it.
I see.
Well, this concludes our video discussing about what has happened in the community this year. It was certainly an interesting year for Touhou with all the controversy, but don't let that distract you from the great things that still happen in 2022. The future is bright for Touhou and those of us who love it.
But before we go, did we miss anything? What was your favorite thing that happened in 2022? Please comment down below your answers. Thank you and goodbye.